Hello and welcome to Quilt Addicts Anonymous. I'm Stephanie Soebbing. We are back with another video in our free motion quilting series. This week we're looking at a loop meander. We're looking at all different ways that you can customize that to fit whatever quilt you're working on. And this video is specifically about the double loop meander. I love this one because it's really versatile and it looks great with any kind of whimsical print you have. So a lot of the spring and summer quilts this looks great on, and especially kids quilts, and it's super easy. Now you certainly can do this as like a block filler or a background filler, but I'm going to show you in this tutorial how to do it as an all over quilting design. So to do it, essentially a regular loop, we make one loop and then we go on like that. And that's what we've done so far, and that's what we're going to do for a lot of the loops that we're going to cover. Now a double loop is just what it sounds. We're going to do one loop and then we're going to come around a little bigger and make another one. And what I like to do is change direction on the other one. So this one's going counterclockwise, the other one started off going the other way. And you can do this as big or as small as you want in order to get this to work out. I'm going to go ahead and wipe this board clean, and I'm going to show you how I would work around when I'm working on an actual piece and about the scale I'm going to be doing when I'm working with our sample that will eventually become our quilt as you go project. And this is a good time to plug. We have kits available in 4 different colorways that you can choose from to do this either as a quilt as you go project if you're doing it on your domestic, or if you're doing it on the long arm, you can piece everything together first and then practice everything on the long arm. And that is totally up to you, whichever one you want to go with. But what I recommend, especially when you're doing a stitch for the first time, is either doing this with a whiteboard and a dry erase marker or with a pencil. If you can just sketch it out, that way you can kind of practice before you're doing it with needle and thread, how you're going to do it, how you're going to move around the space, and what scale you want. And it helps develop that muscle memory that then transfers over when you're doing it with the actual machine. All right, so we're going to start up at the top of our block. We're going to loop around a second time. And I went clockwise with this one, so this one I'm going to go counterclockwise and kind of fill in that space. And I like to kind of go up and down. And the goal here is to just cross over when you are making that loop. You don't want to cross your lines in other areas. And if you need to make a bigger loop like that in order to fill space, that's fine. No one's going to be able to tell that we took a longer pass to get over and fill in that corner. It is a little smaller. You generally want to try to keep them all about the same size. But you know what? This is our practice piece, so it's okay if it's not perfect. All right, let's do this with some needle and thread. All right, so I'm going to start off just working my way in a little bit, so I got room to make that double loop meander. And I'm going to come around. I'm just getting my rhythm at this point, trying to figure out what my best speed is so that I can get good stitch length. All right, so I went clockwise for that one. I think I'm going to work my way down this block and then work my way over. It's up to you. You can get as crazy as you want with how you move around your block, as long as you're able to fill it all in nice and evenly when it's all done. The goal here is to have very nice smooth curves as you're working. So I'm going to come all the way down here. Now we're going to change directions. All right, we've gone counterclockwise for that one. So we are going to switch direction now. Go clockwise around. All right, I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger because I want to be able to kind of fill in all the way down if I can, because I've got a little bit of space. It's not enough to really fill it in the way I've been doing it here. Those are things where it's a little bit easier to space it out on the long arm, where you can see a little more of what you're doing, where you're at a little bit of a disadvantage when you're working on a smaller domestic. All right, now I'm just going to work my way back up that block. You can tell that one was more like egg-shaped. Maybe it looks a little bit more like a little avocado than a full circle, but that's okay. People are gonna see the texture at the end of the day. They're not gonna zero in on that one loop that looks weird. All right, my stitch length is getting a little large. I'm gonna get that back under control here. Better job this time filling out that loop so that I can make it all the way around. Now keep in mind, I've got to make my second loop and then I have to travel over the top of that to get to my next row. So I don't want to go too far out or it's going to look really weird. So this one is almost going to look like a triple loop, except that last one going around, we're using that to travel to the next one. All right. My goal here is to be able to get 4 in here. So I'll try to fill this in so that I can get it to work and fill that space nice and evenly. Leave myself enough room for one more row at about the same scales I've been doing. I'm in quite a bit on that one, so I need to come over a little bit on this one and fill it in better. Now this one, I need to come down about to where that seam allowance is gonna be, because this loop, I'm gonna come out at the top, so I don't have to leave room and space to make it around on the other one. All right, we're gonna go into that last row. I had a couple of really long stitches there. I gotta be careful. You notice I haven't really been stopping on this one. I've been able to just kind of like move my fingers a little bit at a time as I'm working my way around, which is generally what I prefer to do when I have big loops like this, because whenever I have to like come to a full stop, it's hard to come back out of that and have everything look nice and smooth when you're doing a curve. All right, we filled that in kind of nice. Get that stitch length back under control here. It's a constant adjustment that you have to make, because you'll get to a point where you're like, I got this stitch, I can go faster. But if you don't speed up your machine and how fast that needle's going, but you speed up your hands, then your stitch length is going to be all over the place. So you kind of have to have that constant back and forth between how fast your hands are moving versus how fast your machine is moving, so you can keep those stitches nice and even. Right, this is our last little bit for the corner. So we're gonna come around. Remember, I gotta cross over. We're not done yet. So I gotta leave a little bit of room both in between those rows and at the top. Now, if I wanted, I could just come out at any point over the top of this, but I think I'm gonna quilt my way to the corner. All right, so here we have our double loop meander. It is very cute, very sweet, very easy to master. You're just gonna make your first loop and then loop around it a second time. As long as you alternate between going clockwise and counterclockwise, it's really easy to move around your quilt. Now I went up and down for each one, but you can go side to side, up and down, and mix it up as you go so that it's less predictable. But going up and down is a really easy way to start when you are getting going on this, so you just know how to move around your quilt nice and evenly. All right, next up, we're going to be working on a block filler using just a regular loop, so make sure you stay tuned. And if you haven't already, make sure you head on over to our website, shop.quiltaddictsanonymous.com. You can get the pattern for how to get this together, whether you're doing the quilts as you go or putting it all together first and putting it on the long arm. Or you can also grab a quilt kit and, of course, all the supplies you need with the stencils and the pounce pad, so that way you can get your muscle memory down with the stencils and then customize it and really up your quilting game. I hope you're enjoying the free motion quilting series, and we'll see you in the next one.